I had a prospect reach out to me, and the one major concern that they had, kind of think of it as a legacy bias or a confirmation bias, is that English proficiency would preclude them to looking offshore for sales talent. Now, a confirmation bias means that, as an example, you went to Red Lobster, you got sick to your stomach once, or your friend did once, and all of a sudden, that makes it true that Red Lobster sucks and it's going to make you sick. That's not really true. The reality is offshore talent is based on what you're willing to pay. And there's basically English proficiency indexes per country, and then there's pay scales within each region. So as an example, in Philippines, the English proficiency is very high. So it doesn't take a lot to pay marginal amounts of money per month to have prospecting via the phone capable in, let's say, $1,000 to $2,000 a month. Whereas in Bangladesh, it's incredible talent at $300 to $500 a month. You can have incredible talent prospecting for you via email and LinkedIn, but the English proficiency doesn't preclude it to allow you to do phone-based prospecting. So this comes to part number 2. What I'd highly recommend is when somebody says the word prospecting, you have to subdivide the tasks, because the reality is, this is why sales organizations have LDRs, BDRs, SDRs. There's subtasks within prospecting. Who's going to identify the total addressable market map, the contacts, the accounts, and so forth? Who's going to populate that information with phone numbers and email addresses? Who, as an example, is going to track all of the signals? So customers on the move, mergers and acquisitions data. That's all different than running a demo, than placing a cold call. Now let's go into the prospecting. Who's crafting email cadences and sequences? Who's prospecting via LinkedIn and email? All of a sudden, you might ask yourself, now I don't need the same level of English proficiency that I do as voice communication. Now, all of a sudden, I can prospect, reducing my cost of customer acquisition to a point that is so economical. I can now chase smaller deals. I can afford sales cycles to lengthen as they are right now. I can afford more at-bats, a more steep or more difficult conversion ratio that might be happening in the year 2023. I can afford all of this because my cost to customer acquisition to lifetime value continues to reduce. My payback period is much, much better because I have offshored a particular part of my business development that allows me to prospect via email and LinkedIn in a much more cost-effective way. And if you want to know how to do this, give me a call at getlevrg.com. I'm here to help, talking about offshoring best practices.